I want to welcome you back to Black Site tonight. We're going to talk about Eboni K. Williams, who did an interview with Iyanla Vanzant. And basically, she was asked by Mrs. Vanzant, would you ever date a bus driver? You should have heard the answer. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. Eboni K. Williams, if you know anything about her, she's a lawyer, she's a podcaster, she does a multitude of things, but she has been having trouble getting a husband or a mate. So she called on Mrs. Vanzant to come on the show and talk to her. She told Mrs. Vanzant that she has dated all type of men of different races, but she hasn't been successful. So Mrs. Vanzant asked her a very simple question. Would you date a bus driver? And she said yes if he owns the company. But she basically said that she would never, ever date a bus driver. But Miss K. Williams, who's been around famous people, rich people, so many people, but she hasn't been able to capture that man. So the true question that needed to be answered is that maybe it's not the men. Maybe it's Eboni K. Williams who's the problem. See, Mrs. Williams think because of her education, because wherever she went to school, because of what she has accomplished, it can never be her problem. It has to be the men. But there is one thing in common. If you have met different men from different races, different walks of life, and you haven't been able to get that mate, maybe it's you. Maybe it's your standards. Maybe you're telling people he has to be educated. He's got to be 6'2", 190 pounds. Maybe he has to have a certain kind of hair type. Maybe she has all these check marks on her check mark list that has to be marked perfectly. And maybe this is why she can't find that mate. Yes, everybody has some requirements that they would like. Some requirements they would like to have in a mate. That's natural. But she says she's want a man that she really wants to be in love with. But when you start basically Xing out a large percent of the male population, you got a serious problem. See, she couldn't love a bus driver because she wants a certain man with a certain status level. So she must have dated those men in the status level that she wanted, but it didn't turn out well for her. So she can keep trying, and maybe she'll be alone. Or maybe she can dive deeper into the pool where there's more men. You don't know, that bus driver may adore you. He may love you more than you ever been loved before. But you just see him as a man driving a bus with a uniform on. You don't ever see him as a man who could possibly be a mate. Someone you can spend the rest of your life with. Someone who will respect you, protect you, do all those things that you hopefully wish the men that you dated in the past would do, but they never did it. This is why you should keep your options open. But Mrs. K. Williams hasn't done it. She's too good for a man like that. He shouldn't even be in my shadow. That's the way Mrs. K. Williams thinks. That's okay. And you can keep going on out here doing what you have done in the past. Dated the same kind of high value men that you have dated in the past. And they refuse to possibly marry you or even date you for a long period of time. And I know Miss K. Williams is about 40, maybe a little bit more. Men at that age that have a lot of money usually date younger women in their 20s, maybe in their early 30s. That's why you should leave your options open. When she said that statement, yes, I'll date a man if he owns the company, the bus company, but not the driver. She insulted basically 85% of the population who are middle class, upper middle class, who work different type of jobs. Bus driver can make up over 100,000. She never thought of it that way. She sees him as a peon, a simp, a lame, a clown, because he don't make enough money to satisfy her status, who she wants on his arm. And that's okay. That's her preference. But when it comes to your preference, sometimes it ain't enough men out there in that preference level. And sometimes the men in that level that you want may not want you, may not want your attitude, may not want how you look down on men who are not on that level. What if that man who's making the type of money that you want him to make, and he's with you and he happens to have a rough patch, and he gets laid off or the money is coming in slow? You don't seem like the type of woman that'll stick around and support him by the way you talk. Iyanla Vanzant basically told her, you got the right to choose whoever the hell you want. But if you want to be single for the rest of your life, keep doing what you're doing. This girl truly thinks she's an American princess. And that's fine. But she ain't gonna find the type of man she wants because of her attitude. That was a bad look right there for most men when she said that. That's her preference. She can keep going down that same road. It hasn't been working. Keep doing the same thing. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I hope you subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button, but also share this video.